next session is our group panel discussion, and it is being led by our most famous Brandy. Come on up here, girl. Woo! All right, so I told you not to let me have any wine. So you guys may recognize her because she's been around for a million years like myself. We're pretty much pioneer or dinosaurs. And of course, she's super famous and super funny. And if you don't already follow her on social media, you are missing out, but it's not too late. Get on that. She is an amazing human, and she is going to be hosting our panelists today. So come on up. We have Jackie Chappell from Daikin Applied, Laura Grant from Train, and Shauna Peddle, HVAC Tech from Enercare Home Services, as well as Ambassador for Women in HVAC Canada. Come on up, guys. Woo! Oh, and don't be nervous at all. You guys got this. And if you need a drink while you're on these white couches, just let me know. I'll get you a glass of red wine, no problem.
Wine, yep. Oh yeah, I forgot my water. Oh. Shit.
Oh, we popped off.
I broke the ice.
Are you okay?
Am I on? Do I need to be on? Okay, I'm on. Oh, you guys, it's so great to be here. What is this, triple the size, Amy? It's double the size, like, wow. I love this event. The first time I came was last year, and I just have to give everyone a huge prop because to see so many women in our industry, like we're all kind of one way or another in the same industry, it just blows my mind, you know? And to come together in a safe space and be able to celebrate like our progress through the years and breaking barriers, it's amazing. So I want everyone to give themselves a hand because you're all trailblazers. Okay, so let's start off. I'm just gonna let the ladies give themselves a little introduction. You've heard way too much about me, so go ahead, Shauna.
Hi, my name is Shauna Peddle. I'm an HVAC technician at Enercare Home Services.
Hi, I'm Laura Grant. I am a fifth-year apprentice at Train.
Hi, I'm Jacqueline Chappell. I'm a third year at Daikin Applied.
So the other thing before we get into the questions is I thought long and hard about this on my plane ride home yesterday. And I've been doing events here and there for about the past 18 years. This, I believe, is history in the making. I don't think I've ever sat on a panel that's been moderated by a 313A refrigeration mechanic, and each and every panelist is a 313A journey person or apprentice. There's usually one of us. And a lot of times the moderator, they have to ask me, what is HVAC? They don't even have any idea what they're going to be saying. So you guys are all witnessing history in the making. This is progress, and these ladies are the future of our trade. Okay, so let's start with Jackie. When did you decide that pursuing a career in the trades was right for you?
So straight out of high school, I didn't think that women necessarily would make it in the trade. So I quickly took that out of my mind. My dad is a carpenter, so trades and being on the tools was something of interest when I was growing up, but I quickly put that out of my mind. I went to graphic design, thought that was my path. Long story short, I have a brother in the trade, and I saw how happy and successful he was doing in HVAC, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try this, you know, see what happens, and yeah, it's been great. Yeah.
I'm gonna actually pivot a little on the next question for Laura. We're gonna mix it up a little. Did you have support in choosing a career in the trades?
No, not at all.
So, how did you find support elsewhere?
So no one in my family is mechanical or in any of the trades, so it was never on my mind.
Wow.
Yeah, and I had a desk job that, you know, it paid well for what I did, but it was just a job. I needed a career. So at the time, my boyfriend, he was in the trades, and he said, why try the trades? So I said, okay, like what trade? So I had a carpentry apprenticeship set up, and then I was talked out of it because you're female, it's heavy lifting, and you can't do it. I was like, okay. Then I was like, maybe electrician. Okay, we'll call the electricians union. Oh, we're full. Okay, so my boyfriend called. Oh, you just have to do this, this, and this to get in. It's like, okay. Again, I took it as you're female, you can't do it. And then I was unhappy, I was depressed, and talking with my doctor, and she said, try HVAC. And I was like, I don't know what HVAC is. So I went home and I looked it up, did some research, and I was like, yeah, that sounds interesting, I could do that. And then I quit my job, paid for school, and then I was like, Mom, I quit my job, I paid for school. What school? What are you doing? What's HVAC? Why are you doing that? You're not going to do it. I'm like, I'm doing it. I'm doing this for me. Like, this is my choice. I'm doing it. And that was 8 years ago.
That's amazing. And just a follow-up question, how did you find, did you interview with a few companies, or were you lucky enough to land on Trane early on?
No.
Okay.
I had worked at every 6 months, changed companies, and I started off in residential, so every 6 months, it's like, okay, I'm not happy, try the next company. I'm not happy, try the next company. So after I was I think it was 5 different companies in 2 years, and I was like, okay, well, I need to make a move up the ladder somewhere. So I was, tried to get into the union, and I did the aptitude testing, I did the interview, okay, I'm on the list, but nothing came. Kept applying at different union companies 3-4 times at companies I was interested in. Finally got the call, and I was like, I'm in.
That's amazing.
But then still, I'm at that company a couple years, I'm like, I'm not happy. And then, you're always looking for something where you want happiness. Finally get in at a Trane, and I was like, this is where I need to be.
Yep.
I have the support from the guys in the field, I have the support from the office, support across the world, really, the Trane community. And they always reach out to me and say hi if you need help, and I'm just like, this is where I need to be.
That's incredible. That's really an example of the culture that we need in this industry from contractors across the board, because they can talk about inclusion and diversity, but 9 times out of 10, they don't walk the walk. So that's great. Since we're on the topic, Shauna, of challenges, what challenges have you faced as a woman in the industry, and what'd you do about it?
So some of the challenges that I have faced, so as women going into a male-dominated industry, we have a tall list of challenges. And so one of the biggest challenges for me was actually just getting into the industry. So I went to school. I loved learning. I was on the dean's list. I got 91% on my G2 test. I've always been about the books. And so I conveyed this, I thought, pretty well on my resume. And so I started, when I got out of school, I started applying for companies. I was cold calling, I was door knocking, I was doing the whole thing. I was even reaching out to companies that didn't have any postings. And I wasn't getting any calls back. And it was really frustrating. And I thought, sometimes there's that catch-22 where you have it where you've got, and this is not trade specific, it's just company specific, where they want you to have the experience to get the job, but you can't get the job without the experience. Okay. And then, so I actually thought maybe, maybe it's gender-based, and I really didn't want to view it as being that way. So what I did was, I actually did a bit of a test. So my name's Shauna. I took the A off the last, off my name, and I started submitting my resume to a couple companies as Sean Peddle. And before you know it, my phone was ringing. And so it was really, it was unfortunate. It was really disappointing. Thankfully, though, one of the jobs I had applied for as my real name as Shauna Peddle was Enercare Home Services. And so they're running, back in 2018, I was hired on as one of the first 6 313D residential air conditioning apprentices. And thankfully, they brought me on board. They've been great. And so the moral of the story is just don't give up. I think it's one of those things you can be really frustrated when you're not getting any kind of phone calls back. But there is a company out there somewhere. Someone will take you on, so just keep going.
That's amazing. It just goes to show so much growth. I also applied as Brandon Ferentz a few times and got the calls back as well. And just such similar stories, but it really shows there's progress, it's happening.
Yes.
We kind of chatted at the table casually. I actually actively have companies contacting me looking to hire women. They want to diversify their workforce, so But what you say is like, you want to be happy. It's funny because I look back and I think I was just grateful to have a job, and I honestly had the mentality almost 18 years ago that no one else would ever hire me, that I had to stay there regardless of how unhappy I was. So, I mean, that's amazing. Yeah, Jackie, let's go back to you. What is your favorite part? Because you're an apprentice. I love it. It's new, it's shiny. You're not on call yet, are you?
I am.
Oh, okay, so maybe not that new. What's your favorite part about working in the HVAC industry right now?
Well, I didn't know anything about HVAC when I first started. I actually had to Google a lot of things, and being in a chiller manufacturer, I didn't know anything about chillers either. But once I got in, I really liked how there's just so many opportunities within HVAC. Like I know a lot of mechanics say like there has to be a point where you have to get off the tools, and it's not just male, female, it's just about your body. And you could go to teaching, you could go in the office, you could go to sales. Like I just love how diverse this industry is, and you can stay on the tools, you can be a mentor, you could be a teacher. And I think that's what is attractive about the trades, and just how big and small you could be in it. And yeah, I just like the opportunity that it gives you.
Yeah, and it's funny you bring up all of those things, because when we do events for schools, and I'm sure Jamie can attest to this, the parents are always concerned, right, that you've got to break your back. Like, you won't be able to do this to retire at 65, you'll be broken. And when you start talking to them about all the other opportunities and avenues that you can take this, it's not a job, it's a career. The time you put in to get your license is equivalent to a master's degree. So, I mean, the sky's the limit, right? And I was just talking to you because your brother's here, which is awesome. I asked Jackie if her and her brother had planned to open up a sister-brother business together. So, yeah, it's awesome. So kind of on the same topic, Laura, what's the most rewarding part of your job?
I like to walk into a room where something's broken, and then I leave the room and it's fixed and it's working and the customer's happy.
It's amazing, eh?
Yeah.
It's kind of like what Jamie was saying. You're like, I did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just as simple as pushing a reset button.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a hero for pushing the reset button.
And you're like, that's right. I'm a superhero. As far as in the industry, Shauna, what challenges have you faced? Oh no, did I do that one already? Sorry, guys. I got my paper mixed up. Did we do the challenges when we did? What personal or professional growth have you experienced? Because you're licensed now, right? You've done the apprenticeship, you've gotten licensed, so it's a journey.
It's been good. So I've been in the field. So coming into it, very much like Laura, I did not grow up doing this. I was completely green to the industry, had never picked up a tool before I decided to go to gas school. And so when I got into it, and I've been in the field now for 4 years, one of the biggest kind of epiphanies that I had was realizing that the skill set that I've learned at work can be applied outside of work. And I take those skills with me. And so I actually had a situation where I was just at my house. It was just like a Sunday morning. I'm puttering around, I'm doing laundry, and next thing I know, my washing machine agitator had exploded. It was in a million pieces. And so, I mean, I'm an HVAC tech, but I have no idea about washing machines and home appliances, but I figured I got my tools, I've got YouTube, and so I started watching videos, and the next thing I know, I was working away. I found out you needed these dogs, so I went to the store. I got these like little rubber dogs, they're called. I put everything back together, and it's been going strong for 2 years. And it's one of those things that is, as a woman, to be able to fix stuff at my house, it's extremely rewarding. So to be able to take what I've learned and take it with me, and like you were saying, we had a conversation earlier at the table that you can go anywhere in the world, and once you have that skill set, the sky's the limit, right? It can go anywhere.
Yeah, and it's interesting as a teacher, because I instruct for HVAC. Sometimes the students get all wrapped up in the black and white. They're like, okay, just tell me how to do it and I'll do it. And I'm like, well, every single time it's going to be different, right? You can go to the same repair, so to speak, but it's always going to have to be done a different way depending on the circumstances. But what we learn in this industry and what we teach is that we're giving you a set of skills and you're kind of retraining your mind to think in a different way. Now you've got the confidence to use the tools, take something apart that maybe you wouldn't have done before, right, and put it back together and it'll work. And and as women, most of us are not encouraged at a young age, to go and fix things, right? It's just not something we're used to. We don't get that opportunity to get tools in our hands. So that's interesting. Jackie, how do you feel others can encourage and empower women to enter the trades? This is all about women today, female power. What do you think?
Yeah, so I think we all have similar backgrounds where women aren't sort of, there's no positive vibe of joining the forces or joining like the trades. And I think what Brandy's doing with schooling and what Jamie's doing as well is like, I don't remember having a skilled trades seminar in high school or elementary school, and it was definitely not catered to women. It might have been like, take the boys out and tell them. But I think it does start with schooling and kids. If I knew that was an option, I wouldn't write it off right away, as I grew up knowing. And yeah, I just think it starts with school and kids and sort of molding them to know that it's an option. And yeah.
That's awesome. This one's for the whole panel. So Laura, how do you feel others can encourage and empower women to enter the trades?
Just be open-minded.
Yeah.
We are humans. It doesn't matter if you're male or female, or just give everyone a chance, let them prove themselves. Mm-hmm. Like, I have a resume, okay, can she do what's on her resume? Yeah, I can do that and more. Mm-hmm. And let my skills show you. Don't let my gender decide that for you.
Yeah, it's kind of like they make up their mind before you even get out of the truck, right? Mm-hmm. What about you, Shauna?
So, encouraging women to get into the trades. So my biggest thing has always been, I really believe in education. I think that I always say study, 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 and then study some more. Your brain is your biggest asset. Knowledge is power, and I think that, a lot of times as women in the field, we come up to challenges where it's physically demanding. We don't know how we're going to necessarily do the job. And thankfully, in today's day and age, a lot of companies want to work smart, right? So take advantage of that, the PPE, take advantage of the tools, study the materials, and you can be the best version of yourself and just keep going.
Yeah. I have, just this past year is the first time I've had female students in our HVAC program. So I have, actually this is a record this year, I think I have 4. So it's pretty amazing. The first day, the one young lady showed up, and she came for orientation in her first couple classes, and I couldn't believe this. She pulled me aside, and she goes, I just wanted to let you know I was actually pretty much convinced myself I was going to drop out, like I was going to quit. And she'd been to just a few classes, and of course, all guys. She hadn't seen another one of her female counterparts yet, and she goes, and then I saw you walk in, and she goes, like, you're not like super big and muscular, and she goes, so like, if you can do it, I can do it. And I'm like, oh yeah, and you can probably do it better than me. And she's one of my best students, which I can say about most of my female students. But yeah, it's amazing. Like, sometimes it is just that little push or that little bit of support that you might not even know the person needs it. But yeah, I always say it's so important to lift each other up. There is enough sunshine for all of us. It's definitely not a competition, and sometimes the guys would be like, oh, there's another girl on the job site. And it was almost like they were trying to ruffle my feathers. And I'd be like, oh my God, where? Like, I can't wait to go talk to her. Like, I'm not special. I just happen to be the only one. And it's so great, with seeing multiple women. Like, is there another woman that works at your company, Shauna, yet?
So we've got plumbers as well. So
Yep.
altogether, there's about 15 women between HVAC and plumbing.
Incredible for a mechanical company. Incredible. Laura, what about a train?
No.
Soon.
So there's not in my area, but
Yes.
there's a couple
Yeah.
out in the world.
Yeah. Well, it is a global company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're coming. We're working on it.
Yeah, we're going to work on that. Yeah. And what about you, Jackie? Is there anybody else with you?
I think we have 3 in Canada for Dakin.
That's amazing. Like that's, I mean, I know the numbers seem low, but actually I'm gonna throw a stat out here just for a little break. Skilled Trades Ontario, I have a contact there. So just last month I reached out about some statistics. So right now in Ontario, we have 9,319 licensed 313A refrigeration mechanics. And of those 9,319, 40 are female. So we represent 0.004% of our trade. And on the apprentice side of it, this is where we get to see the progress. And although it seems low, remember, change doesn't happen overnight. We have 2,272 registered apprentices in the 313 trades, and 35 are female, which is actually 0.015. So we're not quite there yet, but you know, I think it's changing, and these ladies are proof of that. All right, let's go back to the questions. And we're talking about like the work environment, how many people are there. I'm gonna throw this one out to all of you. I just came back from a conference, the Mechanical Contractors Association ladies are here, and we talked about recruitment and retention. Because one of the reasons like we don't get those numbers up is women want to be a part of the trades, but they're not all as stubborn as myself and some others to stay. Because when sometimes you wake up and you're like, why am I putting myself through this? Like, you know, F this, I'm out of here. So what is something you guys think employers could do differently to increase the recruitment and retention of female apprentices and journey persons entering the field? I'll start with you, Jackie. What do you think? It might not, and this isn't specific to your employer, just in general.
Okay.
Just in general. What would make it more of a hospitable environment?
I think just them, I don't know if it would be a good thing to promote, but to show that they support women in the trade and they are not hiring them because they're women, they're just hiring them because, you know, they want to give someone an apprenticeship, right? Like I didn't know, I had the same similar background with Shauna where I didn't know if it was me or because of my lack of experience. Like I came from a graphic design field, which has nothing to do with what we do. So I don't know if I'm not hired because I'm a girl or because I just don't know anything. Like I didn't grow up on, you know, tools or a farm, right? Like a lot of guys do. But yeah, I think maybe if they promote that they do support women and along in their apprenticeship. So it's great that you hired me, but like I would want to be sort of supported in some shape or form. And I guess going to conferences or showing up to those things where you're not just sending me, it would be nice to like see people here. I think that would help.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think, Laura?
Well, I think there's a lot of women here. There's a lot of female support, but where's the men?
Yeah.
I see my train has a couple men here, some support, but it's like, I think we need to have men involved in, so we're seen and heard in front of the men as well. And just like these conferences, get your face out there, get our names out there, and bring through the next generation. Keep getting us through these things.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of, I mean, obviously there's a few bad apples, but most of us are mentoring under men when we did our apprenticeship, and there's a lot of, you know, great support out there. What about you, Shauna? Is there anything different?
So for recruiting and retention, so I believe, so in, okay, so this day and age, so again, so women entering a male-dominated field, we're now entering a field where typically 20, 30, 40 years ago, you could work a full-time job with crazy hours and you had someone else at home to handle all the background stuff. So they took care of the kids, you know, typically women. We took care of the kids, we did the chores, we did the groceries, we did all that other stuff so that the men in the field could excel in their careers. And now in 2022, you really can't have a household with just one income. A lot of times both people are working. And so what that means is you're sharing the workload across both positions. And so I'm not a manager, I'm not a business owner, I don't understand what goes into per se the overhead and scheduling and this and that, and I know it's easier said than done, but I definitely think in 2022, if there's any kind of flexibility with the schedule and trying to have that bit of work-life balance to help everybody manage, because again, it's not just women. There's a lot of single dads out there as well that are trying their best, and you're working full-time, you got both hats, right? So I definitely just think that that's maybe one angle that employers could take to try and retain and recruit.
Yeah, and it's important to bring that up. There's a lot of actually financial incentives right now for companies to hire women or minorities. The Canadian Apprenticeship Foundation, I think it is, at CAF, there's actually $10,000 if you hired a female or a minority available. And if you were thinking, you know, well, if we hire a woman, what do we do about like mat leave, or how do we navigate these waters? That's exactly what that money is supposed to be used for. You know, it's supposed to help you modify and make adjustments to your business so that you can actually welcome women into the companies, right? It's like, we want to be there. It's more about keeping us there.
Yes.
Like, that's why the numbers aren't going up, right? Yeah, so there's lots of incentives out. I think for employers, there's definitely a lot they can do. They just need the information. So we have to get a little bit better at that.
We're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there. Sorry guys, I forgot to bring my phone up. How am I doing for time, Amy? 10, 15 minutes? Okay, cool. Okay, so I want to get to, this one I like because as someone on the tools, no one ever asks me this, but I have a ton of things I've done. So I'm going to do this for all of you guys. Do you guys have any tricks of the trade that you want to share where you have found a way to do a task differently than your male counterparts? You still get the job done the same way. The job's the same at the end, but you have to do it a little bit differently than your male counterparts. Do you have anything to share, Jackie?
Yes, so
Awesome.
I'm on the smaller scale of humans. So I have to use leverage and mechanical advantage to my advantage. So I get wrenches that are longer. I have a step stool. I have a 4-foot ladder that I bring everywhere. I work with chillers, and they're huge. And everyone, I swear, at my company is like 6 feet tall. So yeah, I bring the ladder, I bring long wrenches, I use power tools. I don't know if Dakin actually bought it, but they have a stair climber, and I swear they bought it for me, but that thing's amazing. Carrying tanks upstairs, I definitely could not do, and I will admit to that. But yeah, stair climber, anything mechanically that will help me, I take advantage of, and just not using my body as men do, and you just have to use your brain a little bit more of different ways to think of things that you can do, or I can personally do. So you just have to think outside the box a little bit more than your average tech. So that's how I get through it.
I bet the guys like the stair climber just as much as you do.
I know, they bought 2 now. And
Like, they're like,
it's not me.
Man, we're so glad we got Jackie. Yeah. What about you, Laura?
I guess like guys will do the heavy lifting, and I'm like, you shouldn't have to, right? It's like, it's not me because I'm female. It's because it's not safe to lift 100 pounds. I'm not stupid. I'm not going to try and break my back. Whereas the guys, I don't know if they have to prove themselves, or they're just stubborn or lazy to go get a dolly.
All of the above.
Yeah. So I'm just like, use a dolly, use the stair climber, use what's there, and don't break your body.
Miss Shauna?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I believe that, I don't have a specific tool per se, but one thing that I feel, and again, it's not to generalize, but typically I find that organization helps me big time. So I've met some men that had some amazing trucks. They were really clean and organized, but for the most part, they're usually kind of messy. It looks like a bit of a bomb went off. And so what I found in the field, that if you stay on top of your organization, whether that be keeping your parts organized in your truck, keeping on top of paperwork, keeping on top of documenting, you just got a better system. And it makes your life so much easier when you go and you got to grab that part from your truck and you know where it is. So it helps.
Yeah, well, and then you figure if another task takes you a little bit longer, you're already a little ahead because you're faster in the other part.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, I know, and we're much stronger in our legs. Like it was funny, I had a boss, he was like, and sorry to be cross, he was like, why are your boobs always so dirty? Like on my shirt, but we lift with our legs and I have to hold things close to my chest. So, and obviously they're the most outright part. So, it takes all the dirt, but we're really strong on the bottom half and we don't have the upper body that our male counterparts have. So, you just, like you said, a 6'4" male can definitely hurt his back just as easily as us, right? So yeah, it's really important to use proper techniques and stuff like that. I want something fun now. So do you guys ever, because I used to do this, do you have a song that you guys love that kind of pumps you up if you have a challenging day that you blare in the van on the way to the job or a call? Has anybody got a favorite?
So I obviously don't public speak on a normal basis, but I was pumping my country album like all day, even at school. So yeah, that got me into a vibe, and that's just, yeah, if I have a challenging job, I usually listen to something that I can sing. I don't know if that helps, but yeah, I just sing, I close all my windows, probably look weird, but yeah.
I love it, I love it.
I guess my go-to song would have to be "Get Busy" by Sean Paul.
Oh, I love it, I love it.
Just does something for me.
Yeah.
It's my blood flowing.
It speaks to you.
Yeah. Oh.
Shauna?
So I kind of listen to a little bit of everything,
Yeah.
but I'm not gonna lie, when I hear Shania Twain come on,
It does it?
it gets me going.
So for the most part, I'm a pretty, I'm old school alternative. I grew up in the 90s, rock, all that stuff. However, I will totally admit, and only to this group, and I'll deny it if you tell anyone, when I had to go work with some difficult male counterparts and I was on my way to the job, it was all about Pink. I have no idea why, but I would blare Pink and I'd be like, okay, I can do this. Like for some reason, there was just something about some of the lyrics that would totally get me through a really stressful day and get me out of my head, right? You never want to show up to a job already defeated. So yeah, it was just one thing that I got to do. Okay, so let's maybe finish off. I got time for one more, Amy, or yeah, one more? Okay. What should we do here, you guys? Oh, the advice. What advice would you give to another woman who's thinking of getting into the trade? Because there may be someone in this room. You could make the difference, Jackie. What do you think?
I would just say go for it. I'm not gonna say like my life was as hard as Brandy or Jamie's in getting into the trade so long ago. And a lot of stuff is now, like a lot of companies wanna look after like safety, not just women, but PPE is like important for companies now, and I just say do it. Like it's great money, it's great opportunities, it's great learning. I am not someone who sits at a desk. I like doing things, I like being on my feet, and if that's what you want to do, then do it. Don't generalize it with a gender. If you are interested in it, do it. Find someone that you can call in a difficult situation, whether it's a family member or just someone even outside the trade, because you're gonna have bad days. You're gonna have like the bad apple, and it's not just trade specific, it's just in general. It is an uphill battle for a woman in the trades, so you just have to have that person and just go for it, because there's schooling, you're gonna learn. I didn't know anything about the trades when I went in. The union helps, the night school helps, and yeah, so I'd just say do it.
Awesome. Laura?
I say if the interest is there and you're willing to learn and you want to learn and you want to do it, just stick with it. And don't feel you have to stay at one company. You're not happy, move on.
That's good advice.
I always said the company gives you 3 months, well, I give them 6 months.
Love it.
If I'm not happy after 6 months, I'm out of there.
Good for you.
And yeah, just find your support system. They are there, you just find them. They will come to you even inside, like in the field, outside the field. You're gonna go home crying. You're gonna have hard days. Just, you have your support system there. Call someone.
Call me.
Go for a drink or even go for a drive and find what works for you.
Yeah. That's great. Shauna?
So I got a bit of a story.
Oh, I love this. Perfect.
You heard this one.
Oh.
Yeah, so in this industry. So as we've said, so women can face a lot of challenges that aren't necessarily the norm. And so something from my first year of me working in the field, which has kind of always stuck with me, I was on my way to a maintenance call. And so it was just a regular old furnace maintenance. And so I was calling the customer to let them know that I was on my way. And so it actually ended up being a little old lady that answered the phone. And so I said who I was. I said I was on my way to do the furnace maintenance. And she kind of just scoffed. And she was like, a woman doing a man's job. She's like, no, women don't do these jobs. And she actually proceeded to put me on hold, call my company to verify they hire female technicians, and then came back, was really unhappy to find out that we do. And so she agreed. She let me come out to do the maintenance, and I showed up, and right away with the door open, she's berating me. Why do you got so many tools? Why this? Why that? And I went in there and I was going to try and kill her with kindness. I was like, well, maybe I can change her perspective. And so I went in, I did my job, even as she's kind of nagging at me the whole time. And I thought, I thought it went okay, but she really wasn't having it. And so she kind of just maintained her position the whole time.
Wow.
She was just not happy. And that's okay. I did my job and I left, but it kind of just made me realize that it doesn't matter how good of a technician you are, how polite you are, how hard you try. Some people are going to have bias and you can't take it personally. You've got to just keep doing the best job that you can and push forward. And the people that see the value in you will see that value, and you're always going to have more positive than negative. So just keep going.
Yeah, and that not take it personally, honestly, ladies, it's kind of how I've survived out there, which is hard for a woman, right? Like, it's hard for us not to take everything to heart. So yeah, I tell my female mentees that as well. Like, you don't have Sunday dinner with them. They're not your best friends. You know what? You don't know what else they're going through in their life. It's not about you. It's just being projected onto you. So like, that's huge. Well, thank you so much, ladies, and thank you everyone for having us. Great job, ladies.
Okay, you guys got to stay there for one more second. Okay, I'm Kelly. I'm sure you guys may have forgotten. It's been a while. I am the worst MC ever because I actually forgot to read you all about Brandy.
I think you've read enough about Brandy.
No. I have something else I totally missed to say.
Who is letting her drink?
So, on top of being one of the top 100 females in Canada, she's also a full-time refrigeration and air conditioning systems mechanic, a gas fitter 1, working full-time at South Lake Hospital in Newmarket. She's also an HVAC instructor at Georgian College in Barrie. And in her free time, because she's got lots of it, she's a Women in Skilled Trades mentor with Support Ontario Youth, sometimes referred to as SOY, if you know it as either or. So I can't believe I forgot to say all of that. I was just so excited to get her up here, but now you know who you've been listening to. So thank you again, Brandy. Thank you for all of our panelists.
Ladies. Thank you.
You guys, that was incredible. And I'm going to add on like my song, not that you guys asked.
I want to know.
Is the song Happy from the Despicable Me movie
God.
by Pharrell Williams. So that's my go-to. I play that whenever I'm feeling like, I need some empowerment, or I'm gonna rock today, and I blast that with my windows down. I'm not in a service van, but I don't care. I'm like, yeah, that's my song, that's my jam. So, and just for the record, I agree with let's have more men around. My men are in the office today because I brought all the women. So, but I think that's a really great point. Thank you for all the guys that have come out today. I'm sure you guys are now the pioneers at the Women Empowering Women event, but we appreciate you. So thank you very much. Round of applause for all the guys that did come. And I'd like to call Amy up here. We're just going to do a group photo with your thank you gifts, if that's okay, with all of our amazing panelists.